Well, now let's move on to chaotic scenes at the Olympics, where the International Boxing Association declared war on the IOC.
They have forgotten that Olympic Committee, National Olympic Committee, is not a political body, it's not a political organization, it's a public organization. So the general public and the countries have to take all decisions. And today, unfortunately, we are witnessing the failure, the death of women, female boxing.
The media reporting, for the most part, appears to side with the IOC, with publications such as the Sydney Morning Herald labelling the press conference farcical. Now let's bring the panel back in to discuss. Caleb, this is a really complicated story, but there's a few points that I'll make. The IOC appears to be relying on evidence that these athletes are female based on documents such as the passport.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, the Boxing Association, whether or not there is corruption issues or governance issues, they have released times when tests were taken. They've said that it came from these WADA facilities, these places, that if you were to accept that all the tests were flawed and there is no chromosomal issue, you would have to accept that there's this grand conspiracy that stretches all the way from the Boxing Association to each individual testing association, which is WADA endorsed. To me, it seems less likely that that is happening and more likely that the IOC is only relying on a document as opposed to anything that's a test.
Well, it's the whole, choose between conspiracy and cock-up 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be the cock-up, right? Because to pull the conspiracy off would be a hell of a task. And what has troubled me about all of this is that of course, the IBA says that they did the genetic testing and it came back with the XY chromosomes that would prove biological maleness about these two people who are said to be women and are competing as women. It would be so easy to fix all of this by the IOC taking the same genetic test or imposing the same genetic test and coming back with the results, and then it would be cleared up. We would all know. And by the way, both of the competitors could do that, but they have chosen
Well, and the Boxing Association says that they have been threatened because there's privacy issues and there've been legal considerations.
And that's correct.
They legally cannot
There's only
release
so much
them.
that they can release.
But apparently the athletes themselves have said, do not release my tests, you don't have permission.
And you wonder why that might be. But the IOC could do its own testing and come to its own conclusions. And it has chosen not to do so. And what has troubled me about the coverage is that the media and us as journalists are meant to question everything, even if sometimes those things we are questioning might go against our own beliefs or our own ideologies, right? The media largely has taken a side, that being we're not going to ask the question of the IOC, why haven't you done your own testing? Because we've now decided that there are certain sacred cows, and one of them is that you can't question someone's gender identity. Both of these competitors, as far as we can see, have always lived their lives as women. And so we now decide, well, that's it. We can't question that.
In this age, in the age of identity, in the age where you can be whatever you want, the piece of paper saying what you are is not proof. The science is the proof.